Rigetti's management team informed investors about a critical government contract and the three-phase structure of that contract and what are the opportunities for Rigetti if they achieve each level of success in this category. So I wanted to share those details with you in this video. Also, Rigetti's management team talked about how long they expect that it will take until they have a commercially viable product, meaning a product that's for business and enterprise and not just for academic and research purposes. So I think those are critically important categories for Rigetti investors. The government contracts will bridge the gap between now and when the company is generating sufficient revenue to be sustainable on its own without going to investors and asking for more capital, and provides the opportunity for Rigetti stock investors. Of course, this is one of those high risk, high return type of investments that could potentially, 50x your return on investment, but it also comes with tremendous risk, more so than almost any company that I'm following right now. In fact, that's true with all quantum computing stocks. They are high risk, high reward type situations, and I follow all of them: IonQ, D-Wave, Rigetti, etc. They're all those high risk, high reward type situations. So let's take a look at these details.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So let's start with that government contract I was talking about. And this relates to the company's three phases of this government contract. In the initial phase, which they're calling Phase A, the company was awarded $1 million, which is not much for Rigetti. I mean, their operating expenses are over $20 million every quarter. So $1 million doesn't even make a dent in their quarterly operating expense. But the company said this, right? Phase A is relatively small. Phase B, the number will increase significantly. And Phase C, the number will increase quite a bit. And the management team has talked about this, and I've done videos on this previously. Phase A included about 100 companies that were vying for this contract. So the government awarded about 100 companies about a $1 million reward, okay, in Phase A. In Phase B, the number of companies that will be awarded a contract will be significantly smaller, around 15 companies. So the government's going to reduce the contracted number of companies from 100 to 15. And then Phase C will be much smaller than that. Maybe one or two companies will reach Phase C. So yes, the first phase, almost meaningless for the company in terms of the amount of award they're getting from the government. But if they make it to the next stage, then that number could be much larger. And then, of course, if they make it to the final stage, that's when the most lucrative contract will be handed out by the government. So they also talked about how many years it's going to take to reach quantum advantage, which is when you need at least 1,000 qubits, at least 99.8% fidelity, 2-qubit fidelity median, and some real-time error correction. Until then, most of the revenue that Rigetti will receive and most of the use cases, it's going to be primarily research and development, driven by government contracts and academic researchers. So still experimenting with the technology, trying to figure out what it's capable of and applications for the technology, and not yet actual business use cases. And that's important because when or if they get to a level where there's actual business application, that's when the big revenue will start coming in for the quantum computing industry, because that's a self-sustaining business model. If you're helping business either generate revenue or lower cost, then businesses are willing to pay you because you're helping them make money, make profits, either by lowering cost or increasing revenue. And then you can just keep sustaining that going forward, and you can take the revenues that you're generating from your early customers, continue investing in the technology, finding more applications, finding more customers, and on it goes. So if they reach this state, that's going to be the home run for Rigetti stock investors, but they're still at least 4 or 5 years away from this category, according to Rigetti's management team. So the company's saying that the goal should be to get a quantum computer to that level, to quantum advantage. And that's really when commercial sales and sales in general start making sense. And we're at least 3 years from now, maybe 4 to 5 years from now, to when this will happen. Okay, so Rigetti stock investors should keep that in mind. It's a long trek from here. It's a very innovative technology. Could prove to be much longer than that. Doesn't look like it's going to be shorter than that, at least 3 years, the management team saying here. If you get anything sooner than that, then that's just a bonus. But even the management team giving investors that time period so investors can be patient and wait for this technology to develop. Now, that doesn't mean the stock price will not experience wild fluctuations between now and then, because it will. With every announcement, with every breakthrough, with every milestone, with every change in the overall market, Rigetti stock price will experience fluctuations. So while you're waiting for this 3 to 5 years for the company to develop a technology that will generate revenue and profits and cash flow, the stock price will fluctuate. As you've already seen, there's been moments where this stock price and quantum computing stocks jumped by 1,000% at one point. And so you're going to experience those volatile moments while the company is developing the technology. So I mentioned that government contracts will help bridge the gap between now and when they achieve that quantum advantage. And one of these government contracts or one of these government grants is from the NQI reauthorization bill, which is going through the House and Senate right now. It has bipartisan support, and President Donald Trump has indicated he supports the quantum computing industry. So there's no reason to believe that it won't pass. But as of today, it hasn't passed. And so that's been frustrating for the management team, because even after it passes, it'll take several months for the government to actually distribute the money from that reauthorization bill. And so the management team is really hoping that comes in sooner rather than later. These types of government contracts and government grants are really helpful for the industry and the company specifically. It's just free money that they get, and it gives them time to develop more milestones and hit more milestones and make more breakthroughs, which then makes it easier to raise more investor capital following those breakthroughs. So these were things that Rigetti computing stock investors, I felt, needed to know. And these were developments that are important to your decision in buying or selling Rigetti computing stock. This document that I'm reading from is the company's most recently reported earnings call transcript. I have this highlighted document available for all my channel members. And I've got even more companies available, including FedEx, ASTS, Space Mobile, Robinhood, Archer Aviation, Micron, and others. These are, I'm adding to these almost every day, a new company or new companies that are available to channel members to view my highlighted transcripts. Hey everyone, so many of you have been asking about my investing strategy, and I'm excited to announce that I've written a book that's available for sale now that describes my 6-step investing framework for evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.